The 1976 HX LE Coupe. LE, for limited edition. Only 580 units produced. All soaked in metallic crimson paint with distinctive gold polycast honeycomb wheels. Interior was washed out in a mixture of performance items and luxury cinnabar-colored materials. And equipped with the 308 cubic inch V8 engine and a turbo-hydromatic transmission. Only select Australians have had the privilege of owning this iconic car. And the 1977 HZ GTS sedan. GTS. 4 Grand Touring Sports. All the performance options you could want in their top-of-the-line performance car. With optional 308 cubic inch V8 engine and silver polycast honeycomb wheels. This GTS was the end of the line for Holden's 1970s big performance cars, and the last time they would use the GTS badge until the 1990s. In Australian motoring history, specifically for Holden car enthusiasts, it is one of those questions that has lingered since the late 1970s. Concerning these two cars, were either one of them actually a Monaro? There is an answer to this question. In fact, there are several answers, and we are going to find them. To answer this question, there are 3 sources of information to consider. 1. The identification tags attached to the vehicle body. 2. The name badges and decal attached to the exterior of the vehicle. 3. The opinion of Holden car enthusiasts. So, let's do this. Starting with the ID tags. There are 3 tags or plates on Holden H-Series cars from the 1970s, which are the Safety Compliance Tag. Then there is the Vehicle Identification Tag or VIN, often referred to as the long tag by Holden enthusiasts, and lastly the Body Identification Tag. In this video, we won't be going into all the specifics of each tag. That's for another time. Here, we will focus on only a singular character located on the VIN tag. Before March 1973 and the introduction of the 4-door Monaro GTS, all and only Monaros were 2-door coupes, which was since the initial introduction in the late 1960s with the HK, HT, and HG models. And yes, in that order. So, there was never a need for formal ID tag identification, for if the body style was a coupe, then it was a Monaro by default. Further to this, identification was aided by exterior Monaro name badges. Quick note, the anomaly. HQ Monaro GTS cars built before the introduction of the HQ Monaro GTS sedan version did not have any Monaro badges, again, supporting the fact the coupes were Monaros by default. Interestingly, only 6 months earlier, in September 1972, Holden reformatted the VIN tag during the second year of the HQ model series and went to a 14-character system consisting of letters and numbers. The second character, which is always a letter, is a code character representing the luxury level variant of the model. Different letters represent different luxury levels, such as Belmont, Kingswood, Premier, GTS, etc. However, there was still not a code character to represent the Monaro identification on any of the 3 tags. The Monaro identification was still reliant on exterior badges. GTS was Holden's performance model and is represented by the letter Q in the second position on the VIN tag. Why it is the letter Q, no one knows. It is part of Holden history that has been lost to time, as with the other code characters for the other luxury levels. Disclaimer, the anomaly. When the 4-door Monaro GTS was initially introduced March 1973, it did not have the Q-code GTS identification on the VIN tag, but rather the N-code luxury level, which was the Kingswood's identification. However, the GTS identification was still present via the trim information on the body identification tag, and also with Monaro and GTS badges on the exterior. By July of that year, the N was changed, or rather corrected to the Q for all four-door Monaro GTS thereafter. If you made it this far and your head hasn't exploded, the easiest way to put it is this. Until March 1973, all Monaros were identified by their coupe body and usually Monaro badges. And from this time, they were identified always and only by Monaro badges. All right, we are all caught up. But what of the HXLE and the HZ GTS Ving tags? Do they have the Q on them? Yes, they do. The conclusion. The HXLE and HZ GTS are both not identified as a Monaro on the Ving tag, as the Monaro name never had a reference on any of the tags, and with the HXLE being a coupe body. This also does not confirm it as a Monaro, as this form of identification was made void in March 1973 when Holden introduced the four-door Monaro GTS. But both the HXLE and the HZ GTS are formally identified as a GTS, as both have a Q in the second position on their Ving tags. That's the complicated part done. Now to consider the name badges attached to the exterior. Straight to the conclusion, because this is easy. There are no Monaro name badges on either the HXLE or the HZ GTS. There are only LE decal on the HXLE, and only GTS badges on the HZ GTS. Now to the third and final source, the opinion of Holden car enthusiasts. Again, this is easy. Generally, Holden H-Series enthusiasts and specifically Monaro owners welcome both the HXLE and HZ GTS into the Monaro flock. Both are granted access to the Monaro clubs. Interestingly, it could be argued that the HXLE could probably be recognized as a HX GTS LE due to the Q code identification. Likely adding to the confusion of the HXLE coupe is the fact that there actually was a HX Monaro GTS sedan. Yes, the sedan did in fact have a Monaro badge on it. And coming back to the HZ GTS, much of the confusion came from Holden themselves. And in 1989, the Holden Public Relations Department stated the following.
The HZ is a GTS only, and is referred to as a HZ GTS, not a Monaro. The badge work on the vehicle also reflects the drop of the Monaro name. Referring to the GMH Vehicle Identification Guide would be misleading as it actually identifies the vehicle as a Monaro GTS. This is a print error and may explain some of the confusion surrounding this vehicle.
All right, that's the answer, or answers, to the question. We acknowledge that there are some discrepancies with the research due to factors such as, in the 1970s, Holden had assembly plants in almost every Australian state that all had their own differences from one another. There was no exact synchronization with things such as implementation of changes, product updates, or even assembly procedures, etc. However, the result remains true, and that result and answer is that both cars are technically and literally not a Monaro. But yes, they are both accepted as a Monaro by the Monaro community. Let us know in the comments section if you have ever owned one of these cars, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe to be notified about upcoming clips with more interesting info.